Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. Really good to see you today, and I hope you're having a lovely day. I have a compare and contrast review today of two candles from Kringle Candle Company, and they are Nativity, which was a brand new release for this holiday season 2022. And I also have Gold and Cashmere here. And Gold and Cashmere has been around for a while for Kringle. I want to say since like maybe 2018 or 19. I have just become familiar with it in the last like year or so. And there are some similarities between the two of these. They are both very amber forward candles, and I love amber. They both have sandalwood in them. So amber, sandalwood, etc. Actually, I think this one has not sandalwood but amberwood. Same, very similar. So I just want to review both of them. I like both of them, but I love Gold and Cashmere. So that's the spoiler if you want to know right off. Let's start out with Nativity then, and this is the new holiday release here for this year, 2022. It was a red wax. This is in the country candle line, so these are paraffin, and yeah, red wax, which was very nice. The label is fine. It's an ornament with a picture of the Nativity scene on the particular ornament. So they're definitely going for a very holiday Christmas branding here. This is not a very holiday or Christmassy scent. I have actually reviewed this one before I had burned it. So this was a kind of a cold open, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. And I did go through many of the scent notes and everything else. So you may have already watched that one, in which case you know a lot about this candle. But for those of you who don't, my initial impressions when I smell this is amber, amber, and amber. This is primarily an amber candle, and it smells very cashmere-like. So, and I said in the last review, if there was ever a candle that was meant to be a cashmere candle or knitted blanket or, you know, any one of those different January candle offerings that usually come out, this is one of them, despite the Nativity branding or name. So the notes that Kringle gave, the top, sparkling citrus, I'm not getting a whole lot of that. Fresh linen. Linen is gonna contribute to that like cashmere presence. The mid notes are cozy cashmere and amber wood. And then the base, amber again, sweet toffee and tonka bean. And as I said before, this is a fairly one-dimensional candle. It's very basic. It does amber very well, kind of with some sandalwood overtones. You're not getting a whole lot of citrus or toffee or anything like that at all. It's just a very, very, very basic candle. When I burned it, and I've burned it quite a bit actually, when I burned it, the throw was kind of in the like 6 to 6.5 region, which is fine. It's fine. I would have loved to have seen it a little bit stronger, but it could definitely have been worse. There was a presence. But given the fact that it's such a one-dimensional candle and it was really just kind of a cashmere amber, that goes toward the lower register in terms of scents and fragrances, and it's one that kind of envelops you a little bit, but it doesn't have a sharpness that would really like amplify its presence. If it had more citrus, perhaps it would. So I do love it because I love, you know, sandalwood and amber, etc. If you're not an amber person or you're like sandalwood adverse, etc., this is probably not the candle for you. But I know a lot of you love a good cashmere, and this is that. My main gripe though with Nativity is that it's just so basic. And as much as I love amber, this particular candle is a little on the forgettable side, to be honest. There's just not enough that's intriguing in it. Is it mass appeal? Maybe. I mean, in the sense that it's super basic, and unless you're opposed to cashmere. Who is this for? I think it's for people who want to burn something in December or in the Christmas season, but it be kind of a January cashmere-ish burn. I mean, there's nothing even remotely tree-like, citrusy, spicy, anything that would be holiday reminiscent. Therefore, this is one of those candles where if you really just want a Christmas holiday branded candle to burn in your house in December, but it not really be one of those traditional or stereotypical scents, then this is the candle for you. Burn, as you can notice, I've got some sooting. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of this sooting happened within the first 10 minutes because the wicks at that point were a little bit close to the glass. And so a lot of this sooting just has to do with the flame itself, and it has to do with the wick placement rather than the wax formula itself. But as it started burning down, it did start building up a little bit where a lot of that sooting had been. So I don't love that. I don't know at this point, when I stick my nose in it, I'm like assaulted by this like soot here. So I don't really know if the sooting is actually changing the scent at all, but I would be tempted to throw this in the candle crock at this point for that reason. I burned this for hours and hours and hours and hours, which is something that you can't do for a lot of other candle brands. So there is that as well. But I do feel like I'm eating crow a little bit for this video because I just got finished in a subsequent video for Kringle. I said something like, there's not a bad burn in the house, even for the paraffins. And I would still stand behind that, but there was sooting on this one. And then let's go over to Gold and Cashmere because look what happened here. Okay, I'm embarrassed, and Kringle, you're making a liar of me because look at that. I mean, I don't really think I can burn this anymore. And I did burn this one for hours and hours and hours too. So again, please receive the caveat that many candles cannot be burned at the kind of length that I burn Kringle candles. I light them and I want to forget about them. I'm not going to nurse them. I'm not going to check in on them after an hour, after 2 hours, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not, first of all, it's not in my lifestyle. It's not in my nature. Number two, I don't really think you should have to do that with a candle. That's the sign of a candle that is lacking in quality. And if I'm getting that candle from Aldi, that's one thing. I'm not going to be spending the kind of money that Homeworks, various others are asking for a candle that I have to blow out after 2 hours because there's no way it can be burned past that point. Okay, rant over on that respect. These have been burned for hours and hours. I noticed that about the midpoint that the pull of wax was getting very ambery, which I actually thought was kind of apropos to the scent Gold and Cashmere, you know. It looked a little like brown butter, you know, it was getting kind of crispy in there, kind of golden. And when it solidified back up after I blew it out, it didn't go like muddy like this. There was a little bit of a color discrepancy between the two, but it was pretty soft. Like when it cooled back down, it was still within the realm of white. When it got down to this level though, man, when I burned it out, I just looked at that and it was so dirty. It was so sooty. And I thought, if this doesn't solidify in a different color, like I don't know what's going on. And sure enough, it finally did. I am gonna throw this one in the candle crock. Remarkably, it has not it has not changed the scent. It's incredible. It looks terrible. It looks horrendous. And when it was burning, it definitely looked super dirty, like not in an appealing way. But it doesn't smell sooty. I mean, it really, I suspect that when I put this in the candle crock, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna smell good, etc., etc. But I'm not too small of a person to admit that this is not the way that I want to see a candle burning. And this is a soy blend, by the way. I should have said that right off. It is Kringle, but it's a soy blend. So it's a soy plus a paraffin. And I can only assume that it's the paraffin that's making it do this, because my understanding is that the soy and the ones that I've burned, they don't go like this. So there are whispers that Kringle is going all soy, and perhaps this is as good a moment as any to say that there are going to be some benefits to that. Hopefully we're not gonna see this kind of thing. When you have a beautiful white candle too, it just shows up, you know? That's the thing, and perhaps that's part of the reason why the paraffins for Kringle are different colored. I mean, they're really nice looking too. And traditionally, the old school Yankee candles were colored like that. So there's lots of other reasons. But when you have a colored paraffin wax and it starts going a little discolored, you may not notice it as much. When you've got a pure white though, it's not a good look. Okay, close parentheses on that. Otherwise, it was a great burn. Again, it burned for hours and hours and hours. So Kringle Gold and Cashmere. Once again, we've got an amber and cashmere candle, and I'm just gonna go ahead and read the notes on this. So top notes, once again, as with the Nativity, the top notes here are bergamot, black currant, and orange. So they're saying there's citrus in this, but if there's citrus, you can't pick it up. It's not citrusy, it's not fruity, it's just not. Mid notes. Now this comes across a little bit more. Butters, creamy vanilla, and maple. I'm not getting a whole lot of butter. It's not a buttery or greasy kind of. It's not buttery, and I wouldn't even say a whole lot of maple. Vanilla, yes. This is vanilla. This is a vanilla candle, but this is the base notes here, and this is what are the top notes and the base notes and the mid notes. These base notes just overwhelm the entire candle. The base notes are amber, musk, and sandalwood. And friends, those three are prime time, especially the amber. And then the musk and sandalwood are kind of filling it out a little bit. And then the vanilla is making it super sweet. So this, first of all, it's a gorgeous scent. It's just gorgeous. And whereas Nativity is a little too basic, even for me, who is an amber lover, this is not a basic candle. It does have the cashmere-like feel, and it does have the amber and the sandalwood, and it doesn't have the citrus. The citrus actually might have been interesting. Actually, it kind of probably would have gone Yankee Candle like Gold Sands, Pink Sands, if the citrus was a little bit more prominent. Instead, it's just a very, very elevated and intriguing amber sandalwood candle. I mean, it's just fantastic. The top notes are sweet, and partly that's coming from the vanilla, but there is something right on the top that is almost fresh. And I don't know where the freshness is coming from. It's not quite outdoorsy. It's fresh as in a spring day, the first spring day when you feel comfortable opening up your windows. It's the freshness that's like moving your curtains a little bit with that like fresh spring air, but it doesn't go completely outdoorsy. It's also a little fresh in kind of a powdery, almost soap way, but it doesn't go soapy or powdery either. It's just like fresh reminiscent. And I don't know where that's coming from. I really don't. But it just, like I said, elevates the whole fragrance and makes this a year-round fragrance. It frankly does, because If it had stayed just in that cashmere place, you would have only wanted to burn it like in very cozy moments in the year, i.e. probably January, February, because there's just too many other cozy, other kinds of scents that you do in the fall and in the holiday season. But frankly, this is one that you could burn at almost any time. You can definitely burn it in the late spring, but I could even see you burning this in the summer, frankly, because it's just fresh and bright and clean enough. Also, let's talk about this aesthetic. How gorgeous is this label? Gorgeous. It's gorgeous in its simplicity. So this has like a hammered lid and it's gold rather than silver. Usually it's a silver one. So the aesthetic is just, it's just so beautiful. It's beautiful in its simplicity. The colors white and gold are great for January. I like to burn this New Year's. I think it's really nice at New Year's because it's still kind of festive, still kind of holiday-ish, you know, but not overtly Christmassy. It's clean for January and February, but Golden Cashmere, I mean, you could do this for a birthday. Think about wedding season. Wedding season, Golden Cashmere. Bring that right out. June, July, right? I mean, this is brilliant in terms of the marketing team at Kringle. And I know sometimes I have I have questioned the marketing decisions. This is one that, I mean, what a coup. They have branded and marketed it in such a beautiful and intriguing and versatile fashion. And then the scent is intriguing and versatile as well. Many people are going to just kind of do it in January and February, but I really think for those who are inclined and who have the imagination, this can go further. So yeah, and when I burned it, regardless of the sooting, it was like a 6.5, a 7. So it did have a little bit of a bigger presence than Nativity. Obviously, if you have to get one, I highly recommend Golden Cashmere. Golden Cashmere, it's a little bit of a sleeper, I think, in the Kringle catalog. And for me, it has to be in the top 5. For me personally, I really think this is a genius scent, marketed in a genius way, and really has to be one of the more superb contributions by the company. So I can't speak highly enough of it. I think I have a soy tumbler of this, like as a backup, and I'm fully expecting it to burn flawlessly. And I think going forward, I would not get this soy blend because I just think it's prone, especially if you burn it like I do. I tax it. I tax these Kringle candles, and especially Golden Cashmere, because I just love it so much. Thank you for allowing me to go on so long as I have here for Golden Cashmere, but I can't help myself. Please pick it up. I'm gonna link the Kringle links for both of these candles. They are both available right now. And I will see you in the next one.